All right, here we go. It's another edition of Rock Talk right here on CGCM Rock Radio. Bob Bannister, your host. And joining us is a friend of CGCM and a friend of Rock Talk, the one, the only Jose Ferro. Welcome back, my friend.
How are you, Bob?
Very good. How about
Good
yourself?
to see you. I'm good, brother. I'm good. Everything's good.
Good, good. And I'm so excited. We have got new Screamin' Lords music.
Yes, it is. It's out today on all streaming platforms. Stepping
Steppin'
over
Over
you.
You. Yes. Now, would I be remiss to say that the first couple chords I hear remind me a lot of The Pusher?
You know, after I wrote this song and I had it all completed, I was sitting back and I was going, it's really funny because when I even before I started playing, my cousin turned me on to that band. And I
Uh-huh.
was sitting there and I was like, nah, nobody's gonna know. Nobody's as old as me. Nobody's gonna know. You know what I'm saying? But you're the second person. Yesterday, somebody said something, and I was like, shh, But it kind of has that vibe. I was always into the Steppenwolf, and
Yeah.
Magic Carpet Ride is like one of my favorite songs. You know what I'm saying? But let's say I pay homage.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, you sent it to me and I'm listening to it. I'm like, this has a familiar tone to it. Oh, it's the and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. Jose's paying tribute to Steppenwolf.
There you go. John K., don't sue me. I didn't do it intentionally. It's only out of respect.
There you go. There you go. So tell us, what's the story behind Stepping Over You?
You know, it was actually finished. When we finished Bring the Hammer Down, I had it finished, but I wanted to wait, a little bit to see how the response would be and stuff. You know, it's funny because the way Richard Frost, who's in the UK, is like, I'll have all the music together and I'll make arrangements and everything, and then I'll send it to him, and he writes, lyrics and puts the melodies together with the song. And it's so funny because when he wrote the lyrics, he must have been thinking about me when I was going through all that crazy times with my ex-wife with the divorce and stuff.
Mm.
Because when I heard it, I went, this guy must have been reading my mind. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I never ever said to him, I need you to write about this. He just wrote it. You know what I'm saying? But it's great, and it's also great to have Chris Collier back doing the drums and mix and mastering again because he does such a phenomenal job. I am so proud to have him in the camp. And once again, we had Robbie Duran, who is a friend of Chris, to do the solos and stuff and everything. And you know, he's an amazing guitar player. He does in California a Stevie Ray Vaughan tribute band, and
Cool.
unbelievable. He's unbelievable. I can't stop raving enough about this guy, but he's really, really good. It's good. I'm proud of it, and the response is um more than I expected. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I got a couple of people just like, this is the best song to date. This sounds great. This is unbelievable. A couple of other, I guess you would call it syndicated radio stations
Mhm.
like that play worldwide have picked it up, and they're like, we're gonna get this into rotation, and I'm like, wow, you know, um I'm grateful. I don't want to say I'm pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. You know what I'm saying? I'm just really happy about it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That and it is a phenomenal song. And I can tell you, coming up on the next edition of the CGCM Rock Radio Top 20 Countdown, which actually airs, the first airing is tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, April 19th at noon. This song, the Screamin' Lords, Steppin' Over You, is in the Screamin' hit.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. That's where we take a song that's just been released that we think is really going to take off, and we put it into the countdown, and then it automatically goes onto the poll. People have the chance to vote for it. But the song, I'm kind of giving things away here. The song that's sitting at number 20 this week is your song, "Crash and Burn."
Well, I'm really happy about that. It's like I said, that was my solo effort where I actually, sang the vocals and did everything on it, and I'm really pleased with that, So that, you know, this musical journey, let's call it, is has been great, and I'm really pleased to have a lot of people around the world who've supported me, like yourself, and everybody at CGCM, and it's great, and I'm grateful. That's all I could say. I really am, you know.
And that's the fun part about making radio is becoming friends with the people that create the music that we play.
Right.
That's always the fun part right there, because then, you know, yeah, okay, it's a little bit self-serving. We get music a little bit ahead of everybody else, but we also become friends and get to meet some really
Yeah.
cool people in the process.
Exactly. Exactly. It's been great. And like I said, my good friend Mark Osterwick, back over in the Netherlands,
Yep.
boy, that I can't thank that guy enough for his help, in getting the word out for not only for the Screaming Lords, but also for my solo material. It's like he's a great guy. He's just great. I think he's even the one that put us together.
He is. He is. He's the one
Yeah.
who sent me a Facebook message and said, "Hey, you got to listen to Of Darkness and Desire from this guy Jose Ferro." And I put it on and I was like, "Yeah, I do." And then I need an
Yeah.
interview too.
Right. Right. It was great. It was awesome. It's really, really good though.
Exactly. So you were mentioning earlier that you're planning a move. So does that mean that you're maybe going to be looking together or looking at putting together a band once you get to the new location, or just more
I,
staying the
I'm
same as the?
considering I'm considering it very much.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of good players down in Austin,
Yeah.
and a lot of good players and a lot of good guitar players, and you know, um, the biggest thing that I need to do is when we get down there, get my studio all set up again. You
Mhm.
know, it's funny because I made some contacts of some people through Facebook, and I didn't realize that one of the guitar players that I was considering to use. Actually, I thought he lived in Vegas, but he lives in Austin. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying? So we're going to connect down there and everything. And my fiance Stephanie is from Austin, so she
mm,
knows everybody.
right.
So she was involved with the South by Southwest, and what is the other one called? ACL, ACU, or something like that. Some
I
kind of festival thing that they do down there or whatever. But and she has a lot of friends, so I'm really looking forward to it. But I am getting the itch to play out. I really
yeah.
am. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yep.
like, we'll see. Maybe I can put something together and then, maybe have Rich come out, fly out for a couple of shows and, to do something in Texas or whatever. It's still up in the air, but the whole idea about putting a band together, yes, I'm very much into doing something like that.
And you mentioned
So,
about the quality of musicians that are in Austin, and I'm hearing a lot of things that Austin is a lot like Nashville, where before it was, Nashville's a country city, that's it. Now that is not the case, and it's definitely not the case with Austin. Everybody plays everything, and everybody works together.
yes. And Austin, even though it's a distance from Nashville, but what, 7 hours? I mean,
Yeah.
it takes me 5 hours to go see my daughter in Los Angeles when it should really only take four.
Right.
Five and a half hours. So it's like driving that distance is not a big deal to me. And the other thing is that I got tons of friends in there,
Mhm.
also in Nashville. So it's you know being situated in the middle of the United States to me seems it's going to be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really looking forward to that. But I want to get there, but I also really want to get over to Europe. It's been a little bit of time that I've been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been there, like I mentioned once before. My mom was German, so I was over in Germany and everything, and I have tons of friends all over and go see Richard, in the UK and go see Mark in the Netherlands, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying, to go do that. So yeah, there's a lot on the horizon, you know what I'm saying? I just got to take it step at a time because sometimes I get a little overwhelmed. I'm like, but
Yeah.
it all worked. It will all work out. You know.
And that seems to be the way that things have gone. Like everybody says, oh, rock is dead in North America. Rock is dead. No, 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 no. You know what? Maybe it went a little dormant for a while. It just took a vacation. It's living in Europe right now,
You
but it's
know,
coming back.
it's so strange. It's because I just don't believe that rock is dead. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
mean, it's just like it's always been there. I mean, I don't think that I've ever met more loyal fans than people who follow rock and heavy metal
Yeah,
ever. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? I
Yeah.
mean, Europe is strong. I mean, there's so many different genres of music over there, from black metal to symphonic metal to, and
And
the thing
whatever the hell
is
the
that,
Swedes are doing.
yeah, well, I call it Scandinavian rock, but I mean, there's so much music out there that's just amazing, you know. Um, yeah, so sorry, Gene Simmons, I don't agree with you. You know what I'm saying? Please, it's not. People are still making music. I mean, there's so many bands. Even when I'm surfing on Instagram or I'm going through and checking new bands on Facebook, I mean, there's so many great bands out there.
Mhm.
Um, the only unfortunate thing is that a lot of these bands, because of the situation of with streaming and everything, don't get recognized. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a big deal. It's almost going from being a total musician to being like a businessman where you got to do the marketing and do everything. And excuse me, you know, sometimes having that all hands on approach is a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Because it really is a lot of work to do sometimes. And if you're diligent and you follow through, it could be beneficial to you and stuff. But like I said, once again, not to sound like repeating myself, but rock's not dead. Sorry,
No, no,
no
definitely
way,
not. And
no.
it's interesting because it's the same way with internet radio. If you do your due diligence and you follow up and follow through, you are going to be a success. And that's why we like finding these artists that normally would go unnoticed or barely noticed, and bring them to the
Correct.
forefront with CGCM Rock Radio, and play them. And all you have to do is look at our top 20 countdown chart. One look at that,
Yeah,
and there's evidence right there. Sure, you got some big names, but you got a lot of names that a lot of people will go, what, who?
yeah. That when I've seen you put the list out, whenever every time when it's out, I check some of these other bands out, and I'm going, wow, this is great. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? There are definitely ones that I like sitting there going, man, there's a lot of good music. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's some music out there that I just scratch my head and go, okay, but whatever. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, for me that's the stuff my kids are listening to now. I just go, okay, you do you.
It's interesting. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff out there, but I don't know. It, to each its own. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, and it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of last night. I came home from work. My wife asked me to pick up some takeout, so I went to this place, and it's kind of like an Applebee's here in Canada. It's a Canadian chain, but it's called Montana's. Anyway, so I go in there and I'm waiting to pick up my order, and they're playing country music over the sound system. And the line in the song, and it absolutely cracked me up, was spending another Friday night drunk in the back of your Corolla. It's like, what? When did country music stop singing about pickup trucks and start singing about Toyota Corollas?
Toyota Corollas.
I came home, I told my wife, she was laughing her ass off.
That's funny. That's really, really funny. Well, you heard the joke about playing a country record backwards, right?
Exactly. I worked in country radio, and there was a band here in Canada that put out a song called Country Song Backwards. And the chorus is literally, you get your house back, get your wife back, get your dog back, get your truck back.
I love it. And it's not kind of divert from the same conversation, is that I'm really looking forward to hearing more um, in Austin, like, more bluesy rock type of
Yes.
music. And I'm really, really looking forward to that because, I was influenced a lot by, a lot of these like Zeppelin and everybody like that. I
Yeah.
mean, talk about these bands like Humble Pie and like there's this one band that's out. I don't know if you have heard about them yet. They're called The Feel.
Yes. The
And
band Feel. Yes. Oh
oh
my God.
man, I absolutely love that band.
Yes.
It's just when I'm hearing this guy and I'm listening to them and I'm going, oh damn, right on. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I really want to get back to the roots like that, because not saying I'm gonna, totally throw away the stuff I did with Apollo and things. I
Mm.
just, like I said to you once before, I want to stretch musically,
Yes.
and that's to me, I may not be a millionaire, but I want to definitely be rich in the sense of creativity, where I can really stretch out to do that, so that's why I'm really looking forward to it. But, there's a lot of good country bands. Some of those guys are serious players,
Yeah.
it's like scary,
Exactly. Like I said, I used to work in country radio eons ago, and I went and saw two shows that just absolutely blew my mind. Actually, three of them that just blew my mind. One was Brad Paisley. That guy is just insane on guitar. Another one was Keith Urban,
Yep.
was also insane on guitar. But another one is the Zach Brown Band. And
You-
honestly, that was the closest that I am ever going to get to seeing a 70s stadium rock show.
Really, I have to check that out.
Oh my God. It's right in the middle of the set. They start playing one of their songs. I don't remember what it was, but they broke into the wall and they played the
Really?
entire wall, complete with Hammond organ and everything, and then right back into their song. And I just sat there and just like, wow, I've
Yeah,
just been to
yeah.
church.
It's funny because I have a really good friend of mine who is an engineer and a producer also. His name is John Lawson. Um, John was the engineer on John Fogerty's big album. You know what I'm saying? The one that he got Grammys and everything. I
Oh,
don't
center
remember
field.
the title. Yeah. And he worked on that album, forever. And the thing that to me that's really appealing is going back to the roots in the sense of recording is like getting the sound from point A, miking it with different miking it amplifiers, using different microphones, using the room sounds, the real sound of the drums and everything. I'm not saying, that it's bad that people are using plugins to get the guitar sounds. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that raw sound, getting back to point. And he was really into that, because I'll call him up and I'll go, well, what do you do? How did you do this? And how did you do this? And you know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
he's like, but he always points it back to one thing to me. And he goes, Jose, it really doesn't matter. The song has got to have the feel and it's got to be a good song. That's
yeah.
the bottom line.
Yeah.
He goes, don't get hung up on the sound. I said, yes, but I know I feel that I've been writing songs long enough to capture that feel, whatever. But now I really want to go to like a Hammond B3. There's nothing that sounds like a real Hammond B3.
No,
I
there
don't
isn't.
care what simulation you got. There's not, you
Exactly.
know.
Yep.
Man, the whirling of that Leslie is just amazing. You know what I'm saying? It just I
Yep.
love it. You know, so that's what I really want to get into, incorporate into a lot of that, maybe into the newer style Screaming Lords things, because I really look at it as the Screaming Lords is that type of band, because Richard and I do have a lot of the same influences. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? We love Humble Pie, we love Zeppelin, we love all these same bands and stuff. And I think he captured it, especially on this last one. You know what I'm saying? He got really, it's definitely leans a little bit more bluesier than, like heavy, heavy rock,
Yeah.
and that's what I like. I really like that, and apparently a lot of people do too. You know what I'm saying?
It's a phenomenal, phenomenal tune, Jose. I have to say
Thank you.
that.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. And I think it's going to be on the top 20 countdown for a long time. I cannot wait for my listeners to hear this song.
Well, I appreciate it, and I hope they like it as much as from what I'm seeing from other people and things. I really do.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap this up, we gotta have an edition of this or that. We
Are
all
we going? Are we going to the pizza thing again?
we're not doing no. We put that to bed. you have the best answer ever.
Oh hell no!
After that one, that question got retired.
I
So
know.
we've got just some more just regular questions like what do you prefer, playlists or podcasts?
Ooh. Um, I like podcasts. That's a tricky one. You know, um, I think I'd rather listen to a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I do. That's how I feel.
All right, all right. Milk chocolate or dark chocolate?
Hmm. Probably dark.
Cake or ice cream?
Ooh, both.
How can you tell the host of this has a sweet tooth?
Oh, let me tell you something. I have such a tooth, it's not even funny. You know what I'm saying? It's so bad. It's really, really bad. But you know, it probably would have to be cake.
All right.
Yeah,
Couple more. Samsung or iPhone?
iPhone.
And then finally, roller coaster or Ferris wheel?
Oh, oh. Well, I'm not really into roller coasters. The last time I got one, when it was really, I scared the hell out of me. And I don't, believe it or not, I don't like heights.
Okay.
There's something about heights that just get to me. And it's like I could be in it, in buildings, a high building, but once it gets to a certain floor, and I don't like it. So if I had to choose, ugh, probably a Ferris wheel. I don't like roller coasters at all.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Jose Ferro, my friend, thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk on CGCM Rock Radio.
Bob, thank you so much for having me again. And please give my best to everybody else there at CGCM. And thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, my friend. And thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk. We'll catch you again next time right here on CGCM Rock Radio, what rock radio should be.